I decided, but you know what? The most affordable was a room share, and it was like 4,000 to 5,000 rand. And I was like, for a room share, Sanalam. I saw the pictures of the bed. I was like, there's no way I'm going there. Two birds with one stone. Because one thing about me, I'm a strategist. I'm not just studying strategy. Silab. Ndigqibele sephi ebalini lethu sanengathini into eyenzekayo ebomini bam. I might just be catching flu. Might. Heavy on the mic. I need to stock up on vitamin C emzimbeni. Anyway, so ndigqibele ndibalisa uba I moved to Joburg for Umpaina.
Accusations! These are not accusations. This is false accusation. And
Son, I was in PE for a bit. My first 3 jobs, I was in PE, and I was just working in the accounting field. And because being at javu. So my first 3 jobs were in PE, and then I decided, but you know what? I had a bigger reason, of course. My bigger reason was that I wanted to work towards my CGMA designation. And when I looked at, the kind of work contracts that were on offer around the Eastern Cape, there was one, and it wasn't even in the Eastern Cape, it was in Cape Town. There was one I found for e-articles with a real estate company that was in Joburg, and then there was another audit firm that was offering SEMA articles, and they were in Cape Town. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna go to Cape Town. And this is now many years later, after I thought I wanted to go study in Cape Town, and I was like, awake, and I knew how much the cost of living was exorbitant in Cape Town. So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna go to Cape Town, especially because I went through and applied, and when I was looking up places to rent, the most affordable was a room share, and it was like 4,000 to 5,000 rand. And I was like, for a room share, Sanalam. And when I saw the pictures of the bed, I was like, there's no way I'm going there. So anyway, Umfana was in Joburg, and I thought to myself, why not kill 2 birds with one stone? Because one thing about me, I'm a strategist. I'm not just studying strategy. Silab and wondering. So I thought to myself, okay, let me do this thing. Worked tirelessly, and by working tirelessly, I mean then apply like Pnet, Career 24, LinkedIn. Was I using LinkedIn? I don't think I was using LinkedIn. And Paco Puff and Pass, and I saw this opportunity on Puff and Pass. It was a mining company that was recruiting for interns, and mind you, I've been working for 2.5 years, close to 3 years, and I applied for an internship. So I took a pay cut, but I was like, this company looks like it will take me places. Yeah, well, and it's an international company. It's in Joburg, City of Gold. Oh yes, ndizifuna ndipha. Anywho, ndafika eGoli, ndahlala nomfana for a couple of months, moved out and got my own place. And yeah, like, looking back, and every time, like every 3 to 4 months, when I would do my reflections on my career when I was still in the internship, I would feel like I made the right move, because I was like, I wouldn't have gotten this experience if I stayed in Eastern Cape. And this is no shade to Eastern Cape. I will never shade Ipondo. Ipondo will always be on top, okay? However, when I looked at the kind of exposure in such a limited amount of time that I got in that company, it would have taken me probably like what I learned and experienced in 3 months, 3 to 6 months, I would have maybe gotten it in like 2 years in the Eastern Cape. And not just in the Eastern Cape, but in the companies within the Eastern Cape, because the main industries there is automotive. There's still a very big preference for CASA in those regions. And Gauteng, to be quite honest, is up there, like in terms of, just looking at your degree and whatever experience you have, or being willing to give you an opportunity. And I think it's also like the kind of, it's a hub, man. It's a hub for international companies. So yes, I did my first year with that company, the mining company, and I got so much exposure, guys. Like exposure, and I don't mean just working for the company, I mean the actual work that I was doing. And it actually helped 1,000 times more that I was reporting to someone who was CGMA qualified. That just, for me, as soon as I heard, like on the first month when I learned who I was going to be working with, and I was like, Google, well, search on LinkedIn, CGMA qualified. I was like, yes. And when she heard that I was working towards CMA, she was like, oh yes, I have so much to tell you. Oh my gosh, and it was exciting. I did that for a year, and at the end of the year, the contracts were extended for a bit, and an opportunity for a promotion came about. At first, I didn't apply because, imposter syndrome, really. At that, looking back and knowing what I know now, I can safely say it was imposter syndrome, because when I looked at the job post the first time, I was like, I can do this. Not in an arrogant sense, but gubone in the sense yoba, I physically know how to do it. I didn't have the experience of like 3-5 years of doing the job, or all I knew was what I knew when I got there about the company, and everything else I knew was within me already. So when I looked at it, I was like, tell me they're looking for somebody internally, and I missed it. I went on about my life. That was my first 2 years at Goli. I applied for a promotion and got it. Also, which was something very new that I didn't know. Like it confused me how this shit works, because I thought now they just give you a promotion. Can't you have to apply? I have to put in an application and they interview you. Must you guys, anyway. I first registered for my postgrad in management accounting through UNISA. I registered for it in 2016, and I moved to Joburg. When did I move to Joburg? I moved to Joburg end of 2016. So I think, if I recall correctly, I passed 2 or 3 of the modules. It was year modules, and the other 2, I passed 2 out of the 3 modules, and I had 2 left, and I passed the 4th one in 2017. The 5th one, I just kept dribbling me, and that was financial strategy. Also, and I was not a strategist. I was not doing strategist things. Finally passed that module in 2020, so by the grace. And by the time of passing that module, I was already like becoming important at work, and so I had deadlines. I had things that needed me to see them. Like studying was like literally an afterthought, and not because I was lazy or anything. It was just an afterthought because, wow, Sana, who has, after you come back from a long day of work, and this is like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, we work until midnight, because that was the other thing, working in accounting in this thing called month end, where you are just working, and then you check, it's not correct, or something is missing, and then you work until midnight, and you're working with people, you're waiting for this one to give you information, and. So in terms of progression, I arrived in Joburg and started with the mining company in December 2016. In 2018, around about 18 months later, got my first promotion. And the mining money, And that time, I'm not even working for the mine directly, but the mine. Yeah, a year and some change later, I got another promotion, and this promotion came in a manner that I never could have expected. It was a headhunting, like I was headhunted. Somebody called me and said they saw my profile on link. Where did they see my profile? I don't know where they saw my profile, but they saw my profile and they were like, yeah, we want you to come to us. I said, what? Headhunting. I had to go because, first of all, I'm being headhunted. It means I'm important. They saw my CV and they were like, we gotta have her. And then they interviewed me and they said, we gotta have her. And they showed me the mine and I was like, I gotta have you. I went there and yo, yeah. The money was one thing. Again, I talk a lot about exposure, eh? And I think for me, exposure means being exposed. You. Exposure to me means just being in places that allow you to see certain things that you wouldn't have seen if you were not in that place, things that you would not have learned about yourself if you were not in those kind of environments. So what I mean by exposure to me is just being in proximity of certain people and in certain ranks, and yeah, that just having that proximity to leadership and gaining access to those things, life lessons and all of that. And yeah, after that headhunting, I went on to hold other positions way to fast forward to today. And the reason I talked about my career progression and my school progression is I wanted to set the timeline, of course, but also there are certain things that I wanted to talk about on this channel that I have learned throughout my journey. And I strongly believe it is because of the choice that I made way back when to study accounting and to follow the path that I did. Because I don't think I would have, like, I understand the element of having a life journey set out for you and a purpose, and that it will always find you. I believe that I unlocked mine by the decision that I made to study accounting. And so, yeah, welcome to my YouTube channel.